guest today has one of the most beautiful voices on Broadway, where she starred last season in Big Fish and was nominated for a Tony Award for Finian's Rainbow. Right now, she's off Broadway in the 20th anniversary revival of John and Jen, playing Jen. But this is Kate Baldwin.
Hey,
how you doing, Kate?
I'm good. How are you?
How are you?
I'm cold, but
cold.
happy.
It's very cold
here.
here. It's very cold in New York.
Man.
You can't tell anyone watching this, but it's cold.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cold. It's not cold in this room.
You're not going to show this in like June or something, are you?
It's going to be. This is literally going to be up for the rest of your life.
Great.
This
And
video
we'll
is
always
not,
remember
this interview,
how I'm wearing long underwear at this moment.
You look lovely.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk about John and Jen.
Sure.
Because you're in it right now.
And we're in it to win
this
it.
is Andrew. You did Big Fish. Andrew Lippa wrote Big Fish. This is Andrew Lippa's kind of first New York show.
I think so.
Right. I mean, this is when I first knew him.
Yeah.
I first knew him from John and Jen.
Yeah.
20 years ago, 20th anniversary production.
I know.
It's a two-person musical. There aren't a lot of those. That means you have a lot of singing and a lot of stuff.
Never leave the stage. You just never leave the stage. And by the end of last night's performance, I had to sneeze so badly, and couldn't, and had to keep singing, so I couldn't sneeze. But just couldn't look at.
I can't even imagine what that feels like.
It's just a little tickle.
Have that tickle,
it's a little tickle.
You're singing,
and you're doing this, and you're thinking, oh, do they think that something smells bad? I'm not sure if this is going to work. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, when I do sneeze, I'll do it upstage. So you're singing, you're in your scene, you're like, I'm going to plan for it, because
right.
Always have to have a plan B, always.
Considerate.
And then I decide that if it's going to happen, I can't be looking at Connor when it happens, because he's going to break, because
right.
It would be funny.
Yes.
So I decided that I'm going to play the whole scene to the floor. So I did some excellent acting last night when I was doing this and looking at the floor, because I had to sneeze.
And you didn't actually sneeze on stage?
It didn't actually happen. It happened afterwards.
And then after?
Yeah. It's just, you just have to deal with it and move on.
Have you ever sneezed in mid-song?
I don't think I've done that.
What would that be? That would be amazing.
But in mid-scene, like when you're talking and it all of a sudden overcomes you. I've done that before, yeah.
What are you going to do?
You just do one of these. That's all you're going to do.
So
just as long as you don't spray.
That's an acting tip for any of you.
Just do the whole vampire thing.
Just do that.
Get the elbow ready. Hopefully the upstage one. And hopefully your co-star won't laugh at you.
You play, your co-star is Broadway.com Fresh Face,
Fresh
Connor Ryan.
Face, yo, yep.
You play one person. He plays two people.
That's right.
You play Jen.
Yes.
And like the show it spans what, like 143 years or something.
That's become my signature now. After Giant and Big Fish, I do 143 years of a woman's life. With
How many years was by the way,
hairstyles.
Giant was amazing. That's one of my favorite Kate Baldwin performances. That was a brilliant, brilliant show.
I love that
and
too.
a great recording. Everyone
you.
get it.
Yay.
How many years did Giant, do you remember? How many years?
We started in the 20s, and then we ended in the 60s.
Okay.
So it was probably like 45
years. And then
years. This one starts in 1952, and we end in 1990.
Okay.
So there's some good 80s fashion.
But there's no, you're serving it up a little bit?
Yeah, well, you have to.
Like flash dance?
You have to be like, well, you have to do some shoulder pads.
Shoulder pads,
yeah,
nice.
Mm-hmm.
How's that look on you?
Cinch it with well, I have man shoulders to begin with, so
do
it's
you?
a little, I do.
You don't have man, first of all, let me just say, there are so many glamorous photos of you on the interweb.
What?
Like there's so many, you've done so many like beautiful like photo shoots and gowns and makeup and hair, and I never noticed man shoulders. Are they photoshopped out or what? I've never noticed that. So
Good.
I think you're full of it.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm glad.
So we're gonna get to see your man shoulders and John and Jen, which I don't think exists. But there's no wigs.
No wigs, it's all my own hair.
I saw it looks like there's just a lot of like clipping your hair in different ways.
Right, and
right?
unfortunately, the night that we had photographers come was our first run through with costumes and hair.
Okay.
And we didn't have any mirrors backstage. And plus, you have a couple seconds off stage anyway, and what can a person do for you? Well, you have to button your own sweater, and you have to figure out your own shoe. And then I'm like, the hair. And so there's some like spazzy hair photos from that.
Okay, but
if that's the worst thing that's happening to me, I'm okay.
So it's the basic technique, you're pulling off all these years with rubber bands? Is that
yes, well, there's a side clip moment.
Okay, there's a clip.
And there's like a banana clip moment.
Is it really? I love a banana clip.
Oh yeah.
This is a lot of music.
It's a lot of music.
This is the thing I was thinking about you. You have done so many shows. Like you've done some shows on Broadway, but then you've done like 87 regional huge performance. You've done like every classic musical almost. Right? I mean like every classic leading lady role I can think of. You've did it somewhere.
Because I'm greedy. I'm just greedy. I would see that it was happening somewhere. I'd be like, I want to do that.
But what I was thinking was, oh my God, she knows so much music. You're going to become like a musical theater historian. Like you're gonna know everything about like every right? Like you're gonna be like the master
I love it.
of.
I love all those different styles. I love singing Frank Lesser, and I love singing Yip Harburg and Burton Lane, and I love. I just for the first time did Cole Porter this past fall. That was the very first time I'd ever done Cole Porter.
Can I just say can?
Yes.
Can. You can. You can't see it right now, unfortunately.
You can't.
I wish you can, but you can't.
No.
I loved that show.
I know. I'm so glad you loved it so much.
Good. I loved it, and I loved that
Thank
you were like saucy.
I was saucy.
You were a little saucy because
that's the reason I wanted to do the show, because I wanted to be a little saucy.
Well, because that's the danger when you have like a beautiful and you could do that beautiful you could do like Finian's Rainbow, and it's like gorgeous, but then you don't want people to think you're like the boring ingenue.
Right, and I always try to make every role that I do not boring.
Right.
I try to have her his little, fire in her, or a little humor, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit there and be bored. But the reason why I wanted to work on Can was because I wanted people to see like a different side.
She was a little slutty.
She was a big slut. Just like boobs everywhere, and just like dresses and the whole thing. Yeah,
are you aspiring to play some more sluts? Is this?
I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
I just think it's fun because it's the opposite of my real life, and I just would love to do more like mean slutty stuff.
Right, but you're not a slut in John and Jen.
No.
So let's just let me just clarify.
Let's bring it back to John and Jen. Right, no, John and Jen begins in the year is 1952, and I'm 6 years old.
Right.
And my brother, John, is born.
Right.
And so I'm meeting him for the first time.
Right.
And so the first act is our relationship as brother and sister.
Yeah.
So the next time we see them, they're 11 and 5, and then the next time is 13 and math. 13 and 8.
Whatever.
7.
Yeah.
And then it goes through when he graduates high school.
Right.
And then the second act is Jen at 24 years old, having given birth to her son.
And she named him?
John.
Hence the title.
Hence the title. Yes. And there's a song in the second act that says, I wonder why I named him John. I wonder if I knew what I was doing.
Right.
Nah, never mind. Keep going. So those are the two Johns. I have brother John and I have son John.
Right. It's a teary, emotional show.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a heartbreaker.
Yes.
Which reminds me of the time that I interviewed Norbert Leo Butts.
Yes.
And he talked about your tear falling during your... Do you remember this?
Ew,
I'm
Norbert.
sorry. Do you know this story?
Gross. Yes, I cried into his mouth once.
You were singing I Don't Need a Roof.
Is the song.
Great song.
It's a great song. It's a great song.
And you cried.
And he's laying in my lap, and he's dying of cancer, right? So he's dying.
Right.
Spoiler alert, sorry.
Yeah, it's closed.
For anybody who hasn't seen it, it's closed.
Yeah.
It's closed now. But he's dying, and so he would just sort of like lie down and nestle there and just sort of chill out for a minute, and I'd sing the song, and sometimes I would go, stay with me, and then one little Bernadette tear would come down and go plop, and once it rolled into his mouth.
Right. And
But he was a pro, and he didn't flinch or anything. But the beauty of that moment, it was a beautiful song and a beautiful moment, and then the lights would go down, and then I would have to help him up and help his struggling, dying self back to the bed, and he would give me so much elbow, and he would make me carry him to the bed pretty much. And he's strong.
Yeah.
He's mighty.
He talked about that as a highlight of the run.
Crying into
his mouth. How many people can say that? I mean, that's gross. It's gross.
Sorry.
Are you crying into John's mouth at any point?
No, I'm trying not to sneeze.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying not to snot everywhere. It's a glamorous business.
So can we go back to the Midwest
business.
for a second?
Let's.
I would love to. I don't really know much about you.
Okay.
I don't know much about the first 20 years of your life. So I just want. Can you recap it in 20 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
Well, okay. So you grew up. You grew up actually near Milwaukee, mostly, right?
Outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, outside of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And you went to high school there.
I did.
But you weren't really acting, or you.
Well, I mean, I was always very into music. So I sang in a choir from the time that I was 7 years old. It wasn't until high school that I started doing musicals and stuff like that.
So you did the high school musicals?
Yeah, my senior year, we did Evita, and I played Eva Perón.
Wow.
As 17-year-old
Wow,
Wisconsin
speaking of sluts.
I know, what were they thinking? What were my poor parents thinking when I was like, good night and thank you, whoever. I'm 17. Who does that?
Is there video of this, Evita?
Yes.
Where is it? Did you bring it with you?
Probably with my parents.
Did you bring it with you?
You're not the first person to ask about
Oh
is
my
there
God,
video.
I bet it's good.
And the video is choice because, Ava's signature look of the pulled back
Of course.
chignon
Yeah.
bun.
How's that look on you?
Well, if you're in high school and you don't have the nice lace front wigs and you only have hard front wigs, you can get creative because nobody wants to see a hard front wig with like a pullback bun.
Right.
Nobody wants
Which
to see
means
it.
that you see the.
Which you just see a big, there's your face, your 17-year-old face, and then there's like a big line.
Right, it's a
and
big
then,
line,
then
yeah.
it's so wiggy.
So what'd you do?
I took a beard that men, boys, whatever, would wear on their face, and I used spirit gum and I put it along my hairline and I combed the blonde beard into
Wow.
the bun.
Another actor's tip. Another tip for you. Oh my God. Did it work? Or did it look ridiculous?
it looked great.
Wow.
It hurt like I'm not even gonna say.
Hey.
Because you know how
There's
have you
pain with
ever
playing something
anybody
like that.
ever worn spirit gum? Spirit gum.
Yeah.
It's part turpentine, part latex.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I've never
It's
had
just
to wear it, but
awful.
It's too awful to take off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, you get it in your real hair, and
Right.
it's just, it was
So you had it all along.
all over your hairline. So, like, I guess Kate's doing the musical because she looks like a burn victim, like, that's what happened in high school. But I was living for my art. I was suffering.
Wow.
I was suffering for my...
I love the idea of you
Yeah.
as a Vita.
I also wanted to be an opera singer at that point, so I
Okay.
was singing everything head voice.
Wow.
Didn't really know how to belt, but loved that Patti LuPone cast
Yeah.
recording, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I was trying to imitate her, but I was also trying to be, I thought I wanted to go to school for opera.
I don't know what that would sound like.
It sounds like this. He's supports you, for he loves you, understands you, he is one of you. And then didn't know how to belt. If not, how could he love me? 17.
I might not want that videotape after all.
No, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
So,
Don't cry for me. Yeah.
Wow. Any other like great roles I missed because I didn't know you when you were a teenager?
My junior year, we did Into the Woods, and I got to play Cinderella. That was really fun.
Oh wow, that's fun.
That was really, really fun.
That seems like a natural.
That was good.
How'd you do with boys? Were you like popular? Were you like dating boys? And were
My
you
boyfriend
popular?
was Che, of course.
Oh, really? I love it.
Of course, Ava and Che in high
Waltz
school are
for
dating.
Ava and Che.
I know.
Took it off stage. I love it.
Oh boy. Oh boy. And of course, he was like this big, tall, German-looking guy. You know what I
Wow,
mean? Like we're in
right. Well,
Wisconsin.
yes,
like there's
yeah.
no one who looks
Yeah.
Argentinian.
It is what it is. Yeah.
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 In our high school. So
So then but you didn't major in performance at Northwestern.
I majored in theater.
Okay. Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, straight theater.
Okay.
But I had a fabulous voice teacher named Marie Machuda who was there and really taught me, because I was a soprano and, had a good basis of technique. She really taught me how to belt. And I think
Who's this person? Because I like her.
her name is Marie Machuda.
Yeah. Thank
She's
you,
a
Marie.
wonderful,
Thank you, Marie. 'Cause
wonderful
I love that you
teacher.
can do all of it. I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she always talked about you don't have a head voice and a belt voice. You have one voice. And you should aspire to erase the break from your
Right,
voice.
right.
So you should aspire to bring qualities of your head voice down into your lower register, and you should aspire to have the healthy sort of brightness in your higher register that you do. Anyway.
I love
yeah.
your voice.
Thank you so
I
much.
love your voice.
I love it too.
I've seen it do so many different things. And at your
Marie
show,
actually
54
got to
Below,
oh
which
yes.
was called what? It had a great name.
Sing pretty, don't fall down.
Is that like some advice someone gave you?
Yeah,
or-
that was my professor in college, Dominic Massimi. I think I was nervous. He cast me in something, and I had to go out and sing a song, and I was nervous about it. He goes, well, just sing pretty and don't fall down.
That's
Like,
awesome.
because I was wearing some big shoes or something and some big hair, and and yeah, it's kind of like if you remain upright and you remember all your words, it's going to be fine.
And you said you were a beast in college because you did so
Well,
many shows.
I did 17 shows in
Yeah,
4 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah, once I've decided that that's what I was going to do, the little overachiever in me decided that she was going to try everything. And I did plays and I did musicals, and it was really, really fun. I had a great time. And the sort of like crowning moment was
Yeah.
our senior year. We did a production of Falsettos, and it was 5 of my great friends.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite
And I got to do
shows.
falsettos together. And that's when I was like,
You were
I
Trina?
think I can belt. Yeah, I got to be Trina,
Awesome.
and it was really fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want video of that. Give me that one instead. So you knew you wanted to come to New York, I assume.
No, I was too shy. I was sort of scared at 21, 22 years old. And I auditioned, while I was still a senior at Northwestern, I auditioned for a local production of Baby. The Maltby-in-Shire show.
Baby.
So good, right?
Yeah, so
I
good.
love it so much. And I lived in college. The people I listened to were Liz Calloway and Maren Maisie. Like, those are the people I wanted to sing like. I had given up of ever sounding like Patti LuPone or Bernadette Peters. So the fact that this Liz Calloway role came along,
Right.
I worked so hard on my audition, and it was probably March of my senior year, and I drove to Lincolnshire, Illinois, which is where the Marriott Lincolnshire Theater is. And my dear friend Mark Hobie was directing it, and he cast me. So then I got to do that role, and I got to get my equity card, and I got to learn how to be a working actor, which is very different from being an actor in school.
Right.
And showing up 8 times a week. And
So at that point, did you think like maybe you would just stay in the Chicago area?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I did.
Like see what happens.
Yeah. And I ended up doing 4 or 5 shows at the Marriott Lincolnshire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was really fun. I really, really learned a lot there, and there are terrific people who live and work in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best actors I know live and work
Wait,
there.
how many shows have you now done in your life? Have you ever like counted it?
I don't know,
I mean,
man.
like I can't even imagine how many
No.
shows you've done. A lot of shows.
I do, yeah, because I don't do anything for very long.
Right. Right. Okay.
I think my record is probably 5 months, 6 months.
You've never done like a 2-year run. Right.
No,
Right. You've never
no.
done one of those.
I'm always kind of hopping from project to project
Right.
to project, and always been lucky enough to have another something come along, which is great.
Right. I would actually say that's kind of a slutty career, hopping from, if you.
Expose. Claudia's a big slut in her career.
I'm just trying. I'm trying to make sure people.
I love it.
I'm trying to, make
Yeah.
sure the image is a
Yeah,
little
great,
fun. A little fun.
Right. Who knew?
That sounds like a good segue into your family. How is your hubby?
He's good.
Graham
He's good.
Rowett, right?
Yeah, Graham Rowett.
That's how you say it.
Yeah, that is.
And you guys are almost celebrating like 10-year wedding anniversary coming up,
Yes, in
right?
October is 10 years.
10 years. Wow,
Yeah.
look at that.
But it's been 12 years since we met. We
Okay.
met
Yeah,
in Washington,
you did
D.C.
1776.
We did 1776 together. He played Richard Henry Lee,
Nice.
and I played Martha Jefferson. So we each had one song in the first act, and then second act would come, and all the guys would go downstairs to sign the Declaration of Independence. We'd be like, "See ya, bye."
And
then
you went where?
we were like, I don't know, let's play Xbox, or let's watch American Idol,
Or make out.
I don't know, maybe we made out. I'm not sure.
So you started dating during the run.
We were friends during the
okay,
run, and then
okay.
we started dating afterwards.
Okay. And it's worked.
Yeah.
How did it work? Like, what do you think? What's the magic there? Why is he the guy?
I chose him. That's why it works.
Because you just felt
He's
very
the first guy that I ever went after. He's
Wow.
the first guy. I walked into that first day of rehearsal.
Yeah.
Because 1776 has like 25 men and 2 women, right? So the women didn't have to come to rehearsal the first couple of days. So it was the 3rd day of rehearsal, and all the guys had learned that opening number, the sit down, John number, or whatever. And so then Ann Kanegeiser and I came in that day, and the director, David Bell, stopped rehearsal. He's like, "Everybody, I want you to meet, our cast members who are late to joining us, but here's Kate and Ann." And everybody came over to say hello, except Graham Rowett,
Wow.
who was still rehearsing his number, who was on top of a table with a riding crop on his hand and like doing, "Here a Lee, there a Lee." And I was like, what is his deal? Why is he not paying attention to me? What's he all about? I got to find out.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
And he was intriguing. And he, to this day, says it was all a ploy. It was all part of the plan.
Oh, he really was like, I'm going to play it super cool.
Yeah. With my riding crop.
Wow. Look at him. So that maybe.
Yeah, so that was his version of it. But my version of it was, we did nerdy things like go home from the show and like I am with each other. What are you watching? What are you eating? What are you doing?
I am was big 10 years ago.
I know, right? Stupid stuff like that. But I kind of picked him out. And my mother sort of picked him out too.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
She said she looked at all the guys in the show and she's like, that one. She didn't know anything.
Wow.
Because I hadn't told her anything.
He was in Mamma Mia recently.
He was, yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, he was great.
He was great in that. Was he the gay dad?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
The British.
spoiler. If anyone hasn't seen Mamma Mia, I'm sorry. I won't say which one.
I always say it's like the uptight dad, the British uptight dad.
Well, now you really just spoiled it.
I'm sorry. There's a British uptight dad who's gay.
And how's Colin?
He's wonderful. He's almost 4.
Wow.
He'll be 4 in April.
How do you wrap your head around how do you wrap your head around the career? And I know
Yeah.
you've been doing shows here. I
Yep.
mean, like you haven't been let me be clear. You did regional theater productions all over.
Yeah.
For there was a span of years where that's kind of what you did.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and was it like a point? Was it frustrating? Was it like, oh, I want to do something in New York, but I'm only getting these jobs, or?
Well, I did have to sort of make a choice whether I wanted to. I did, and I made a choice when Thoroughly Modern Millie was
Right.
happening. And
You were in the original cast.
I was in the original
You were in the
cast.
ensemble.
In the ensemble.
And you covered Miss Dorothy.
And I covered
correct?
Angie Christian.
Right.
And I got offered a regional production of South Pacific at Arena Stage, and I really wanted to do South Pacific at Arena Stage. And people thought I was nuts for leaving a Broadway show to go, but I was like, this is a dream role of mine, and this is a world-class theater, and this is Molly Smith, who has become a dear friend and is one of the best directors I've ever worked with, and why could I pass that up? So yes, I did make a choice at one point to do great roles in great theaters around the country instead of doing.
That's hard because that's actually
Broadway.
that's a hard financial choice.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like, I have a steady gig on Broadway.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have a child. I didn't
Right.
have all these. So
Right.
I sort of had a little bit more freedom
Right.
at
Right.
that point in my life. And now I have a child and a husband who I really want to stay close
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And so working in town is very important. Even though Colin came with me to Dallas when we did Giant there.
Yeah.
He came with me to DC when I did Music Man there.
Right.
We're going to go to the Berkshires again this summer, like we did last summer, and make
What
it
are
a
you doing
family
there?
affair. We're going to do Bells Are Ringing together.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Wow, I love
Yeah,
that. That's
I
one of my
do
favorite
too.
shows.
I love that show too.
Last year you did.
We did night music
did
together.
little night music together.
We
Oh,
were
cool.
Charlotte and Carl Magnus.
You like doing stuff together?
It's super fun.
Yeah.
It was especially fun to do Charlotte and Carl Magnus together.
Yeah, I'm
Because
sure.
they're so crazy.
Yeah.
They're so crazy.
Did-
And then
did-
to go home and be like, oh, I'm so glad we're not that crazy.
Did Colin watch you guys on stage together?
The only thing he's
I mean,
ever
he's young.
seen us do was he saw us do the night waltz at the beginning, where everybody's in white and waltzing
Uh-huh.
around and dancing. So literally this morning he said, hey, where were you yesterday, Mommy? I said, I had to go to work. He said, were you dancing? Because that's what he thinks that I do. He thinks I'm a dancer. He's the only one who thinks I'm a dancer.
Wait,
said,
I had
"Oh,
one
it's
more
your
question about
lucky."
the ensemble.
Yes.
'Cause I know you were in Millie, and
Yeah.
but your first actual Broadway job was Full Monty.
That's
you were
right.
swinging Full Monty.
That's right.
Did you ever, speaking of sluts, get to go on and sing It's a Woman's World?
Yes!
Oh my God, I
The
love
first
that.
line I ever sang on Broadway was, I like the chunky little butt on that motorcycle cop. I want to go up there and bite it. Northwestern.
Wow, I love.
My poor parents were like, what? What?
That's like the best song ever. I love
that
that song.
song.
I love that song. Can we get the Full Monty
Here
back
I
on
go
Broadway?
Yes,
It
please.
needs to come back.
You know, and that opening number, Scrap,
Yeah.
is one of the best opening numbers
Yeah,
ever written.
I agree.
Ever written.
I agree.
So good.
I agree. Davey Asbeck.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, Davey Asbeck. So what else do you want the people to know?
What do I want the people to know?
John and Jen.
John and Jen
The
is...
Clermont. It's at
It's
Theater
at the
Row.
Clermont, and it's running until April 4th, 5th or 4th.
got extended.
4th, yes.
Extended to April
Well,
4th.
we're taking a week off, and then we're coming back for a week.
Oh, okay.
I think the show is really funny.
Yeah.
Because you get to see sibling rivalry, and then you get to see a mother-son.
Right.
And how they deal with each
Right,
other and how
right.
they get at each
Right.
other. And so I'm always looking for the ways in which it can be funny. I know people like to cry and stuff like that and cry into each other's mouths and all that kind of business. But I'm more interested in finding out what's silly and funny. You know, when you're cheering on your child at their baseball game.
Right.
That's a fun moment.
Right.
You know, so yeah, so that's John and Jen.
Thank you so much.
my God,
I
my
literally could talk to you for another hour.
I know, let's.
But we're out of
I
time.
don't want to go to rehearsal.
What are you going to do? She has a
Right.
rehearsal. We got things to do. Thank you
Thanks,
so much for
Paul.
coming. Everyone check out John and Jen. It's at the Clermont Theater.
Yay!
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.